Good morning, my beautiful recovery family here on YouTube. Love you guys. All right. It's been a couple days or a day or so since I made a video, since my last video where I had to uh bite the bullet and be honest with you guys and let you know that I had gotten back on 0.25 milligrams of Suboxone. Um, but I learned an awful lot. I mean, I learned a lot in almost 6 days of, not taking Suboxone. And I kind of just wanted to share that, the lessons that I learned and where I'm at, like mentally now. My spirits are really high. They're really high. I feel a lot better than I did before that 5 or 6 days um, that I just went through, and I'm gonna kind of just tell you why. The biggest thing for me was just how surprised I was about the acute physical withdrawal that I felt. I I was one of those people, I was one of those people who was always like, it doesn't. I never really believed in tapering. Okay, let's just cut to the chase. I never really believed in tapering. I just thought, you're gonna go through withdrawal no matter what. And I don't know why I thought this. I mean, it's pretty stupid to think, actually. But I thought, you're gonna go through withdrawal either way, whether you taper or you don't. Like, you're still gonna face withdrawal. So what difference does it make? You know what I mean? Just get through it. Blah blah blah. Easy to say. But after tapering down to 0.25 milligrams and jumping, I and I'm being honest with you guys, like I'm not trying to like just sit here and fill you full of BS. Like I'm being completely honest. Like the physical symptoms, the acute withdrawal symptoms coming off from 0.25 milligrams of Suboxone was nothing. Like, other than the exhaustion, okay? It just takes a toll. It just takes a toll. After a few days, like, I think it was like day 4 or something, I was like manic. Like, I had all this energy. I still didn't feel right, obviously, but you gotta figure, you know, I've been on low dose Suboxone. Well, I started off at 16 milligrams. I don't even think I explained any of that, but I started off at 16 milligrams and I stayed on 16 milligrams for quite a while. And then I tapered like really quick from 16 milligrams down to 0.25 milligrams. I would say I did that in probably 3 or 4 months, like a span of 3 or 4 months. And then I stayed on 0.25 milligrams for, I don't know, month and a half, somewhere around there. Um, but oh man, it is such a difference. Honestly, like even after I got some Subutex and I knew like I got to go back to work tomorrow, and I knew like I've been through this before, and it's not something I'm proud of, but I've been through it so many times. Like I know what to expect. Like I didn't know how bad it was going to be coming off from such a low dose. Uh, but like the physical symptoms, as far as like body aches, chills, yawns, sneezing, I don't know what else, diarrhea, stuff like that, very, very manageable. I mean, borderline, like I was comfortable, guys. Like honestly, like I was not, I didn't feel like I was coming, like my skin was crawling, or I wasn't like all twitchy, and you know what I mean. It was pretty friggin' manageable, and that just alone has taken a lot of I don't know, a lot of fear and a lot of like weight off my shoulders, because now I know like what I'm gonna be facing here once I get everything into place to go ahead and make the jump for good. Um, and I wanted to stick with it. I did. But I was watching a couple of Gabe McCall's videos, and the thing that really hit home to me is when he said, like, don't make rash decisions. And I know for a fact, like, I probably would have lost my job over it, and I can't do that. I'm just not, as I've explained in my past video, like, I'm just not able to do that right now. I can't lose my job. I'd be on the streets. I'd be living in the backseat of my car or something, and I just can't do that. And then with child support, if I stopped paying that, I'd go to jail. So it's just not an option. You know what I mean? If I had a bunch of money in the bank and could afford to lose my job, I would have done it, because really, like, overall, I felt pretty decent, and other than just being really, really tired, really exhausted. Like, I knew 10 hours at work on concrete floors and lifting heavy stuff around, and I just knew, like, it was just going to beat me down. And odds were that I would miss a day here and there, or I'd just be in such a cloud. You get kind of foggy with lack of sleep and just everything that your body's going through. Like, I don't want to lose my job, man. I worked hard to get this job. I've been in recovery for a long time. Even on Suboxone, I still consider myself in recovery. Um, I don't consider myself clean. That's me. Everybody's different. If you do, then you do. Like, I'm not here to say you're wrong. I'm not here to say you're right. It's different for everybody. So for me, I don't consider myself clean, because I'm not. I take an opiate every day. That's just, I don't know. To me, it's just common sense, but some people like to argue that. And whatever. Like I said, whatever you feel in your heart, then that's what it is, man. Like, I can't argue with people about it. It's stupid. I mean, it is what it is to them, and everybody's different. So I respect your decisions, and I respect how you feel. I just, I hope that you're being honest with yourself, like, really truly honest with yourself. But I'll leave that at that. But anyway, yeah, man, I feel a heck of a lot better just knowing, like, it's nothing like it's obviously it's nothing like jumping off 80 milligrams of methadone. You know what I mean? Like, it's night and day, completely night and day. And that's what I expected, honestly. Like, I expected it to be freaking way worse. Like, I just expected it to be way, way worse, and it wasn't. It just wasn't. Physically, it was really nothing other than just being super tired. Like I said, like, the exhaustion. It was the only really thing that I was battling. Anxiety, and I think most of the anxiety was just from me kind of just being in disbelief. Like, really, like, this is all it's gonna be, is just some anxiety and trouble sleeping for a little while. Like, I was just kind of in shock almost, to be honest with you. But um, it really has changed my outlook on buprenorphine, like, completely changed my outlook on it, because methadone and Suboxone, because of the half-life, is like a really drawn out process to get off it, man. It really is. And the post-acute stuff really is the hard part. You'll hear a lot of people say that, and it's true, man. It really is true. The the very initial stage, the first couple days suck, right? Um, and I think a lot of that's mental, because you're just like, wow, I'm really not taking anything. And you can definitely feel that, you know what I mean? You can feel like that something's missing. Those opiate receptors they're not full anymore with buprenorphine, and it's apparent. Like, you can definitely tell. Even when I tapered down, like, even I could feel, that I was in withdrawal. Like, the big pupils, like, the way things look, the way things smell. Like, I was definitely feeling withdrawal symptoms, but incredibly minor, like, incredibly manageable. And that in turn really did change the way I look at Suboxone, because I now understand, like, if used correctly, and I shouldn't have been on it for 2 years. I should have done this a long time ago. But if used correctly and tapered correctly, it can really be an amazing tool, because for a lot of people, it's those physical withdrawal symptoms that get people, that really scare people. Um, and with this, as long as you can taper your dose down and you plan it correctly, okay, that's like the biggest thing, man. That's my biggest takeaway from that, almost 6 days of withdrawal that I just went through. My biggest takeaway is that you really do have to plan, and I've always known that, you know what I mean. So it was just stupid of me to, naive, and I jumped the gun on it, and I'm hard headed, like I said. I want it so bad that I had I had taken those 2 days off. I kind of planned in my head, if I take 2 days off and then I have three, I'll have 5 days off in a row, maybe that'll get me through the worst of it, and maybe I'll be able to go back to work and be okay and work through it. And but like I said, by the night of day 5, I was wiped out, dude. I was just exhausted. I felt okay again. Like, I felt okay. I wasn't crawling out of my skin. I wasn't freezing cold. I wasn't laying in bed. Like, I was up and about the whole time, like listening to music. I helped my landlord do some things. I had to do some weed whacking at my parents' house. Like, I did all of that through the first 5 days of withdrawal. Like, that's unheard of. I mean, you don't do that coming off from hardcore opiates. I mean, I know some people have done it, and I've had to do it myself, but I mean, that is horrible, and this was nothing like that at all. At all. Again, you can feel that you're in withdrawal. It's there, right? It's there, but man, like, nothing compared to coming off a full agonist opiate, like whatever, fentanyl, heroin, whatever, any of them. Nothing like it, and nothing like methadone. Methadone was 100 times worse, guys. Like, no friggin' joke. That was rough, man. Rough. But I even got through that. So I mean, like I said, my biggest takeaway is make sure that you plan it out. Like, make sure that if you work, like, if you have, I almost say you have to take time off, man. Like, I mean, I guess some people can get through it. Some people do. But working through just feeling exhausted and feeling foggy because of lack of sleep and whatnot, like, it's really difficult. And I honestly, once I realized, like, okay, like, I can definitely get through the physical withdrawal, no problem. Like, I knew in my mind, I'm like, okay, like, this was not what I expected. This is going to be not easy. And do not want to say that, or you know what I mean. It's not friggin' easy. It's hard, but um, not as hard as I was expecting at all. And once I realized that, I'm like, okay, like, that makes me feel a lot better. Um, I feel okay about getting back on a very low dose, 0.25 milligrams a day, until I can get everything in line, get my time off properly, take time off from work. I think with 2 weeks, maybe three, I'd be all right. I went back to work after 33 days. When I came off methadone, I went back to work, and it was real hard. It was still really tough. Major anxiety, like post-acute withdrawal, like insomnia, bouts of insomnia that would last, anywhere from 2 or 3 days to up to a week at a time. And it was tough, but I was able to do it. So I know for a fact, like, with two solid weeks off from work, I'd be all right. I'd be all right. I'd be able to go back and get through the post acute stuff. Post acute withdrawal sucks, man. It's no joke. I always seem to get hit by post acute withdrawal. Um, the thing is too, like, I have to keep in my mind that when I came off methadone, I had been on opiates for well over a decade straight, you know what I mean? Like, just on really powerful, like methadone and, dope or whatever before that. But, I've only been on, I was clean for 3 years, and I had fully like readjusted. My brain was back to normal. I was sleeping normal. My sex drive was normal. Like, I was pretty much normal. That's a horrible word to use, but you know what I mean. Uh, and I've only been on subs for 2 years now. So I think, and I hope, the post acute withdrawal symptoms wouldn't last as long as they did coming off methadone, because that was a long haul, man. Like, well over a year that I was still feeling symptoms, and I don't mean to scare people. Like, they were manageable. It wasn't like, full out withdrawal, but they were definitely still there. Like, the symptoms would hit, they'd come in waves, like you just get. I remember being at work, man. I'd be at work like a year into my recovery off methadone, like a year later, like I'd just be at work having a fine, great day to, whatever. And then just boom, out of this left field, I'd just get hit with like these withdrawal symptoms. And, my way of kind of dealing with it at the time was to put on music and like do push ups, like just to get the endorphins going. And then I would kind of snap myself out of it a little bit. But, um, yeah, your body will heal. It does take some time, but it will heal, and it's so worth it once you get a glimpse. Even in the first couple weeks of your withdrawal, once you get a glimpse of how like beautiful life is, like without medication, it gives you that motivation, man, to just keep going. Like, it's totally freaking worth it. And I just remember back then, like, being like, okay, this sucks. I'm not sleeping again. It's a year later, and I'm friggin', I can't go to sleep for a couple days. And I would just think like, whatever. Like, this is so good. I'm loving where I'm at. I feel so much better. Like, I can deal with a couple nights of no sleep for what I've gained, what I've become. And what I become when I get off this stuff, even 0.25 milligrams, it completely changes me. It really does. And not everybody's like that, and I understand that. But I'm not so mad at myself anymore. I've come to the point after that process, the last 5-6 days, whatever it was, where I'm not as mad at myself now. Like, I understand that, I got on it because I was in a bad place. An overdose almost killed me, and it was the right decision at the time for me to make. And, I'm proud of myself for lowering my dose from 16 milligrams a day down to 0.25 of a milligram. I'm proud of myself for that. And I'm just really happy that I did that 5-6 days, because it really opened my eyes, and now I feel so much better about the prospects of successfully getting off of this stuff. And that is gonna happen, like I said. But yeah, man, I learned a lot. And it's really, really changed my headspace and my mindset. And while I am, semi disappointed that I couldn't do it, I understand I understand why. I understand that I made the right choice. As hard as it was to do, as hard as it was to come back and admit defeat, I can't look at it like that. I can't look at it as a defeat. I gotta look at it as a learning opportunity. Um, I gotta be proud of myself for doing it. To even try. Because a lot of people won't even try it. And if you're one of those people and your dose is really low, like, I would say try it if you can. Like, if you get the time to do it, I think you'll be pretty surprised at just how manageable it is. Like, it's not as nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Not even close. So, but that's where I'm at, man. Like, that's where my head's at. I'm feeling good. My spirits are high. Thank God. Um, and I'm just still determined. I'm still just as determined as I was to get through it and to come out on the other side. And I know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Um, but I'm gonna get everything planned properly, like everything's set in place, so it's good, and I don't have to worry about that while I'm going through it. And once those worries are gone, it's just a matter of just dealing with the exhaustion. You know what I mean? Just get through it. I mean, if you gotta lay in bed, lay in bed, but you're not gonna be tossing and turning, flopping like a fish, sweating, freezing. Like it just doesn't happen. It didn't happen for me, at least. I was completely comfortable in bed. Um, a couple nights of restlessness, but nothing, just a couple hours of it, and then I actually ended up sleeping. So really minor. If you taper properly, super minor. Physical symptoms. You'll still have some mental battles. Like it's still a war. It's still not easy by any stretch of the imagination. Uh, but it's definitely possible. Definitely doable. And I'm just anxious to get back on that horse, man. I am on the horse because I'm still, trying to taper as low. I'm going to try to taper even lower than 0.25 milligrams. Skip a couple days in between if possible, um, and make it even easier the next time. So, but it's coming. I appreciate you guys for all your support, for not giving up on me, for not judging me or anything like that. I really do appreciate it, and you'll be seeing me. We'll talk soon. Peace, guys.